How's it going, YouTube whānau? My name's Rick and this is Rick the Maker. So today I'm going to be finishing off this carving here that I started in my last video. It's not much left to do on it, to be honest. It's just a matter of fine-tuning it all and then getting the paua inlay and some of the more finer details on it. And then we'll be stringing it. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out exactly where I want these holes and all that kind of stuff for the paua to go in, because I want a piece of paua to go about there. And I also want a piece here. And I've got a little bit here that I need to put in the eye as well. So that's where our paua is going to go. So the way that I'm actually going to be doing the paua, I've got some little mini hole saw bits that I actually ended up scoring. They're incredibly handy, especially considering the fact that some of them fit inside each other. So that's going to mean what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to make the hole with the one that fits inside the other one. And they'll be good to go. See, they're really, really small little diamond hole saw bits. And I found them really good for this kind of thing. So if I want, see, that one fits in there. So if I cut the hole with this one, so that there, if I cut the hole with this one here in the carving, I cut the hole in there, and then I cut the piece of paua out with this one, I know that the piece of paua is going to fit in the hole. It makes it really easy with a lot of these things. Like these two here, I think. Yep, so that one fits in there. As you can see that there. Can you see it? I don't know. Here we go. So that one fits inside of this one. So I'll probably use this one for the hole, for the eye, sorry. So I'll do the hole with this one, and then get the piece of paua with this one. It can be a little bit of a pain because sometimes the piece of paua will actually end up getting stuck inside it. But I found the best way to do that is to start the hole from one side of the piece of paua, and then just before you break through, go to the other side and finish it off, and then there's usually a little bit sticking out the other side that you can pull out. So yeah, I'll get on to that, and yeah. Cool, that's those all sorted out. So we've got this little one here, which is for the eye. So as you can see there, it's got the circle on the top. You'll always end up with a little bit of lip at the bottom, which is actually quite handy because it stops it from sinking too deep into the carving. Just like that. And then we've got this one here, which will go in here. And this one here, which will go in here. Like so. So I'm just going to use CA glue to glue these in. I found CA glue is actually the best I've noticed for doing paua to bone. You can use, like, say, epoxy and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, CA glue does the job, and these are such a good fit that they're not going to usually fall out anyway. So yeah, so I'll get on to gluing these in, and then after that it's just a matter of filing it some more, getting it all nice and cleaned up, and then doing some more of the detailing around the edges here. So yeah. There we go. Yeah, we've got that. Little inlays there. So this one here, you're just going to have to file these two down. This one here is going to be a bit more of a pain because it's in there quite deep, so I'm going to have to either get the file on it first and then just clean it up with one of the bits that I've got. So I'll get onto that, and then it's just a matter of cleaning it all up and putting the details in. So yeah. Cool. So now it's just a matter of cleaning it up. I'll get it all cleaned up and everything like that. Get rid of some of these ridges. There's like ridges on the inside of here that I've got to get rid of. And then I'll start shaping it a bit more, getting it a bit more clean, and then I'll start putting the details in. Cool. There we go. We've got all those nice little details in there now. It's pretty much ready for sanding now. So I'm going to start off with about 180 with a 180 grit. So I'll start sanding with that, and then I'll probably go to about 400, maybe 600, depending on how it looks and stuff. Obviously, the finer grit you go, the less it's going to take in terms of polishing and all that kind of stuff, less time it's going to take. But I'll get started on sanding this, and then, yeah. Awesome. Now that's all sanded up. Now it's just a matter of polishing. So I do have a big buffing wheel that I usually use for polishing, but it's a bit hard for me to set the camera up to show you guys that, so I might just end up using these here. Got a whole bunch of little polishing pads that I use for my Dremel. So I'll use these, polish it up for you guys, and yeah. Okay, there we go. That's it, pretty much done now. All I need to worry about now is stringing it. And I'm going to string that in the same video now. Now, what I use to string, I'll zoom you guys out a bit now to show you this. What I use for my stringing is this thing here, which I actually made. So it's just 2 pieces of wood. I've just got a couple of nut things on top here, which is it actually makes it able so I can hold the carving. There's a couple of bits in there of non-slip mat for the bottom of drawers. So I've just got a couple of bolts through with some nuts on here, and that just holds it in place, and this allows me to clamp it to my workbench. So I'll show you guys me doing that now. So I just do it like this. Got this little clamp here. I find this easier. It's a lot easier if something else is holding the carving while you're stringing it, because if you're actually holding it yourself, you end up running out of hands. So the best thing to do is to find a way to secure the carving. You can obviously just, if you want to, attach the carving itself to the bench, but it's usually easier if you do this. So there's that there. So first things first, I'm not going to do a super fancy stringing for this one. I'm literally just going to use some of this cordage that I have here. This is about 2mm cordage. So I'm going to use this here, but I'm actually going to barrel knot it with this here. This is about 0.5 to 1 mil cordage. I'm going to use this here to barrel knot it, and I'll show you guys what a barrel knot is. First things first, I need to pull out the length that I need. I'll usually go a lot more than I actually need to. I just find it's a lot easier. I'd rather have too much than not enough when it comes to this kind of thing. So I'll usually end up getting quite a large amount of cordage there. I'll cut that off. This cordage is pretty inexpensive. It is wax cord. I do prefer wax cord because it is a lot nicer on the skin and it tends to last quite a bit longer. But I'll use this here. I've got quite a nice length there. Now, when I cut this, I usually cut it on an angle because it ends up giving me a point. And the good thing about that point is it makes it a lot easier to feed it through the carving. So I'll bring you guys over a bit closer so you guys can see. Alrighty, so that's a bit easy for you guys to see it there. So when I first started this carving in the first video, I actually drilled a hole through there. Now I'll either do a hole through the side or I'll do it through the front out to the back. Usually I'll do it from the front out to the back if I'm going to be stringing it a different way to what I'm doing it today. So, I mean, it all depends on what way you guys want to do it. I could have done one in the front there, but I just thought I'd do it through the side this time. So I just wind these down and that holds it in place. So next I take the point. Hopefully it ends up going through. So I take the point. I'm going to feed it through the hole. If it doesn't want to go through the hole, sometimes it takes a little bit of a twisting to get it to go through. There we go, we got it. Cool. So now that that's through, you pull both your ends together like this so that they're both at the same length, and then just pull it tight. So that's about where you want it. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a barrel knot around here. So this is just going to pinch it together. It's going to stop the carving from, because obviously if it's like that, the carving is going to want to slide back and forward. So if I do the barrel knot here, it stops it from wanting to slide along. Now the way to do a barrel knot, I use barrel knots a lot when I'm doing bone carving. I find it's a lot more secure doing barrel knots than any other knot. You need a piece of cordage about that long. So from your pinky to the tip of your thumb. I usually get a piece about around about that long, a little bit longer if you want. I'll cut it. Now what you want to do is you want to get this like this. You want to make a loop like so. Hold that on there. Now I always do it up a little bit and then move it down. You'll see what I mean when it comes time. I'll pull that to about there. Now what you want to do is you want to take this end and you want to wrap it around the whole thing. Now when you're doing it, it's a bit hard for me to do it this way when I'm showing you guys. So whatever end that you're having pulling through, which is going to be the ends, these ends here, obviously, you're going to want to hold them a distance away. So I hold this like this, then I take one of the loops and I wrap it around while feeding this through. So I pull this through the loop and I wrap around. Now that's all you really got to do. You just got to keep going around. Usually I'll stick to this rule of 7. So I'll do it 7 times, round the loop 7 times. Now the reason you want to pull your cordage through each time is because if you don't, it's going to end up getting tangled. So we've got to pull that, because what we're actually doing is we're wrapping around the cordage like this. And if you don't pull the cordage through, you're not wrapping it, you're just making a knot for yourself. So wrap it around, just like so. Pull it through again. Then that's 3. Around. Pull it through again. 4. Usually when I do carvings, I will plait this thinner cord. It does come out quite nice if you do that, but just for this one here, I thought I'd show you guys the barrel knots and stuff, and I'm actually running out of time a bit for this video, so I think that's 6. Pull it through. Now obviously as you're wrapping, this hole will get smaller, so that's why you do a bigger piece of cordage. Now there will be a little bit of waste doing it this way, but that's fine. I mean, I'd rather a little bit of waste than trying to make it harder on yourself. That's 7. So there's the barrel, you can see it there. Now you pull this one tight, it pulls that loop at the top tight. Don't want it all the way tight yet though. Just pull it like that till it's about there. And same with this bottom one. So when we pull this bottom one, it's going to pull at our loop that we've been wrapping around tight. So just pull that. Don't want to do it too tight, just snug, so that you know that it's not going to undo. Give these a bit of a tweak. You don't want to pull them too hard. And now that that's like that, you can actually slide this whole barrel to your carving. Just like so. Now I'll usually pull and pull, and then give it a little bit of a roll. I know it sounds a bit weird, but the reason I'm rolling it, because as we're pulling, we're only tightening these outer wraps. Doing the roll allows it all to settle. Do it again, pull and pull, roll, pull and pull and roll. Now push it up, get both ends, pull them both tight. And you can snip these off. Usually to snip these off, I'll use my nail clippers, but I've been told off for using the nail clippers, so do that. So there's the first barrel knot. So you know that's not going to come undone, and you know that the carving isn't going to slide along the string. There we have it there. This is one of the easiest knots to do, just to get it set up. The next thing is barrel knots, because I'm going to make this a slip cord, which means that there's going to be 2 pieces. They're going to be overlapped like this. And you're going to be able to pull one and the other. That's going to tighten the carving. Like that. I'll show you guys after I've done it. They'll both be attached to either string, and as you pull the knots, it's going to make this a bit tighter around your neck. It also helps with being able to take it off. You don't have to worry about it too much. It's not hard to take it off. I've actually got the same thing on the carving I'm wearing at the moment. If I can get this off without destroying the microphone. There we go. So this is just this cord, so this thinner cordage, plaited. And here I have 2 barrel knots. So as you slide them along each cord, makes it shorter. Now the cool thing about these is that when you pull this up, it's really easy to slide around along. Once it lies down, it's a bit tighter, which means you don't have to worry about it coming loose over time, or as it's around your neck getting to a point where it's like this. You have to pull those quite tight to get that to move. So yeah, I'm going to do that for this. Now, I'll bring you back for the last one. The last one can be a bit of a pain in the bum because you can't pull it through. So as we were doing the wraps, you're wrapping it around, we were pulling this through when we were doing this one. You can't do that because these create a loop like this, and you're wrapping around this part. You can't pull this through because it's still attached. So I'll do the first one, and then I'll show you guys on the second one how to get around that. Cool. So as I'm doing these, what I'll do is I'll pull it to the length that I'm happy with, which is about there. I'm happy with that. I mean, it's a lot bigger than you'll ever need, but I'd rather that, especially like say somebody's got a hat on, can't be bothered taking the hat off, they just want to take the necklace off, they can. I'll get it to the length that I want, and what I do is I take it like this and I pinch both the cords, so they're both pinched like that. Because it's wax cord, it will tend to want to hold that pinch just like that. Now when it comes to doing my barrel knots on this, I know that they're the same length if I take that pinch and I fold it over it. So if I do that for this one and I do it for the other one, which is there, I know it'll be good. So first things first, I'll do this one. You guys will be able to see. You might even notice how I do this one. I'll do this one first, and you guys will be able to see how easy it is without having to explain it. Alrighty. Were you guys able to pick up on what I did there? Do the pull, roll, push it up a little bit more if I can, pull both tight. Now that I've done this one, I know that you can cut this extra piece off now, but I usually cut this first. Cut this one off. Here we go. And that slides along the cord. So now all I need to do is I need to find the fold point for the, there it is. Right there. Okay, now I'll show you guys how I did that. So I've got this one here, which is the one that I've already done. Now what we want to do is we want to wrap this one over this cord. Can you see there? Like this. So that this cord is wrapped over top of our first cord. Just like that. Now here, right here, is where we're going to be doing our next barrel knot. So usually what I'll do is I'll bring this all the way down, well, close to the carving, which gives me a bit of wiggle room here and here to be able to play around with. So we've got that there. So what I did with the last one was I had my cordage and I also had a pull cord. So I'll cut a new piece. So this here, what I did with this one is I laid this pull cord on. So what you do is you put this where you want, well, close to where you're going to be putting your knot pretty much. So we want it around about there, like that. So this knot here, this loop here is our cordage. And this loop here literally just pokes out the bottom here. It's just one piece of string that goes straight up and straight down. Now you want to make sure you don't get it in between your cordage because it will pinch it and you won't be able to use it as a pull cord. It'll be a stagnant cord, which means it's not going anywhere. So you always have a loop at the top and you've got to make sure that the loop stays out of where you're doing your barrel knot. If it doesn't stay out, you're going to be having a lot of fun. So we'll put that up there. So this is the cord that we're going to make our barrel knot out of. So I put that piece of cordage at the top there. Move my fingers down a little bit. Now you've got to make sure that you have enough room to be able to grab the pull cords and pull them through. So that seems about good there. This one here is one of the ones that we're going to end up finishing our barrel knot with. So all I do is, so this cord here is this one. I just bring it up and keep pinching it with my fingers. Start wrapping it around. So with this one here, we didn't need to do a loop. We didn't need to do a full circle loop, like cord down, around, and then back down out the bottom again. This one's literally just a down and wrap. I'll bring this cordage around. 1, 2, 3. I do love doing these. They're so easy to do and they're strong. 5, 6, 7. So all I got to do now is take the end that I've been wrapping around. I'll usually put a little bit of kink in it, like so. And we feed it through our pull loop, just like that. So now this is fed through the pull loop. Pull cord loop. The reason I do the kink is because when I pull the pull cord through, I don't want it to slip out while I'm pulling it. Now we grab the two ends of the pull cord And you'll see that loop shrink and grab that other cord. And you guys in a bit so you can see it. So there's the pull cord loop there. So I'll pull this through, you'll see it shrink a bit. And then you give it a tug. And that has just pulled this cord through. And there is our barrel knot. I know it takes a bit of practice. It took me quite a few times to get it right and understand what's happening. That's the biggest part when it comes to these knots, is understanding what way you need to do things and all that kind of stuff. But once you get the hang of it, it just becomes second nature and it's real easy to do. So there's our barrel knot. So I'll grab this, push this up. Okay, you don't want it too hard against it because you do want it to be able to slide through. Pull, pull, roll, again, pull, pull, roll, and then one more, pull, pull, roll. If you don't do the roll, you'll end up having this weird, like, squiggly, almost like a caterpillar shape in your barrel knot. Both ends pull tight, cut them off. Now, sometimes I will actually buy cordage that's already plaited, is that the word, plaited? I usually buy it, sometimes buy it, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. I'm not having to worry about plaiting it all and all that kind of stuff. But it is quite relaxing just sitting there and plaiting the cord for a little while. So that's the piece that was left over, and there's our slip knots. So now that we've got those, this carving is pretty much done. That's it there. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It definitely helps a lot, helps with all the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe if you're not already, if you want to see some more carving videos. I do other stuff as well, obviously, like I do a bit of woodworking and stuff like that. I've noticed that you guys have been really enjoying the carvings though, so I will do more carvings since you guys are enjoying them. And share if there's anybody that you know of that really wants to get into bone carving or anything like that. I mean, obviously, I'm doing bone carving, but this kind of the same rules apply when it comes to, say, like wood carving and stone carving and stuff like that. The only thing that really changes is the bits you're using, really. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, let me know. Leave a comment if there's anything you guys want to see. My next carving video will be the one that I showed you. Oh, here we go. Will be this one here. So yeah, ka kite.